Hey guys, welcome back to CSA Chapter 1 Perimeter Types Part 2. Assignment statements initialize or change the values stored in a variable using the assignment operator, the equals sign. An assignment statement always has a single variable on the left-hand side. The value of the expression on the right-hand side of the equal sign is stored to the variable on the left-hand side. So in this example, you could see the integer values x, y, and z are set to the values 0, 1, 2, respectively, and then later in the program, the x value is assigned the same value as the y value, which is 1, and then the y value is assigned itself times 2, so 1 times 2, which is going to result in the stored value of y being 2, and then z is assigned the new value 3. So the output result of this code would be x equals 1, y equals 2, z equals 3. So you could add to the variable by itself. So just pretend like in a program you have the variable score and you probably have to increment it by 1 every time the score increases. How would you do that? Well, you would do score equals score plus 1. So you could do this. When you're trying to increase the value of a variable, you could add it by itself and then set that equal to the variable. So assignment operators, we have the addition operator, the subtraction operator, the multiplication, and the division. And then we also have equal equals, which basically compares two values and returns a Boolean value if two values are equal to each other. And then we have the exclamation point and the equals symbol, which basically returns a Boolean value if two values are not equal to each other. So this code would result in the output given in this purple box. So next we have the modulus operator. So the modulus operator looks like a percentage sign, and it is the percentage sign. And basically what the modulus operator does is that it returns the remainder after you divide two values by each other. So in this case, if you do 5 modulo 2, it will return 1 since 2 goes into 5 2 times with the remainder of 1. So another thing that I wanted to talk about with the modulus operator is that if there is like a smaller number as the first number and then the larger number as the second number, the result will always be what the smaller number is. So in this case, the result for the second and the third lines here, like system.out.println 2 modulo 4 would be 2, and system.out.println 1 modulo 2 would be 1, because they're the smallest one. If the smallest one comes before the larger one, the modulo operator will always return the smaller number. So like with math, how we're not allowed to divide numbers by 0, the same goes with programming. You're not allowed to divide numbers by 0. Java will throw an arithmetic exception error message. So one thing I wanted to talk about is that you could create compound expressions with operators. So when you are doing compound expressions, in math we usually use something called PEMDAS. But there's also operator precedence in Java as well. So that means the multiplication, division, and modulo come before addition and subtraction. However, anything in the parentheses is done first. So pause the video and try to figure out what the code here would result in. The results would be 14, 20, 14, and that's because 6 plus 4 would be 10, and then 10 times 2 would be 20, and then here we do the 4 times 2 first, so that would be 8 plus 6, and that would equal 14. Next we have the compound assignment operators, and these are just shortcuts, so you could pause the video and check it out. So in Java, typecasting is used to convert variable values from one type to another. So the casting operators int and double are used right next to the number of a variable to create a temporary value converted to a different data type. For example, double 1 divided by 3 will give you a double result instead of an int one. Run this code in the black box and you'll get the output in the purple box. Notice what happens when you divide an int by int. You get an integer value as your result. And when you divide a double by an int, you get the double value as the result. But when you typecast the integer value 1 to double, you get a double value. So one thing to keep in mind is the data type int has a certain range of numbers that it could store, but anything out of this range would result in an overflow error. So in this code, you could see the int ID variable is storing a really big number, and so it's going to throw an overflow. And the same goes for the next one. This number is way too small for the integer data type, so it'll throw an overflow error.